Welcome to another Friday morning follow-up here at Bates Leather Co. I wanted to share with you a product that we have that we keep in stock here. And it's funny when people walk in, they look at these and they kind of say, well, what's that supposed to be used for? It's kind of hard to tell without the prop. This is actually a Yeti Cup Holder. It has a little handle on it right here. I'll show you how it works. It's pretty straightforward. You put your stainless steel cup in there and it holds it like a regular cup with a handle. This is a veg tan. This is just a plain one that we have. Sometimes people like that, or they like to have their name in it or something like that. And we've actually considered maybe trying to tool these also. There's a lot of different things that you can do with them. We can make a couple of different sizes. We have them for our larger Yeti cups also. We have our logo stamped in that one. And I think we've made some for a 40 ounce. If that's something that you're interested in, you can let us know through our website. We can try to make that for you. We need to know a name or whatever you want on there before we wrap it and rivet it on the back. But we can do that. It's not a problem at all. Reach out to us on our website and we'll try to get one made for you. I wanted to talk about something that I mentioned last week just in passing and just kind of elaborate on that a little bit more. I mentioned that Matthew tells us, after Jesus' death, burial, and resurrection, people see Jesus and they still don't believe, they doubt. And I made just in passing a comment that said, not even your best argument can win some people over, even after you give a really well done presentation of what you believe. They still don't believe, and they're not going to. They've made their mind up that they're not going to. Maybe some of you have the question after that, well, should Christians even be arguing anyway? Is that what we're called to do? Well, in the sense of bickering, no. That's not something I believe that Christians are supposed to do, but there is a type of argumentation that's biblical. In Christianity, we have a field of study called apologetics. Maybe some of you have heard of that. It sounds like you're apologizing for something, but that's not the proper use of apologetics. Instead, it means a defense of. And I'll show you where we get that from here in the New Testament. In 1 Peter 3, verse 15, it says, "But in your hearts honor Christ the Lord as holy, always being prepared to make a defense to anyone who asks you for a reason for the hope that's in you. Yet do it with gentleness and respect." Now, we know that the Bible wasn't originally written in English. It was written, or the New Testament was written in Greek. And the Greek word here that's used for defense is apologetos, apologetic. That's where we get our word apologetic from. So be ready always to give an apologetic for the hope that's in you with meekness and fear, or as this one says, with gentleness and respect. The point in apologetics is to give a defense of what you believe. I don't want to confuse that with saying you need to defend God. I don't believe that God needs defending, but yet our faith, what we believe, God tells us to defend that. How do we do that, though? What are the things that we need to think of when we're doing that? I just want to be upfront about what apologetics is. Apologetics is a form of evangelism. It's not a form of winning an argument or winning a debate. It's a way to communicate the gospel to others that don't know Christ. The goal of apologetics is that someone would come to know Jesus as their Savior. But what do we need to do when we do that? Well, what this passage doesn't mean is we need to answer any question everybody ever has, no matter how erroneous it is. Proverbs 26 says, "Answer not a fool according to his folly, lest you be like him yourself." Not every argument is worth responding to. Not every question that someone asks is worth giving a response to. Sometimes they're just outright foolish. And God tells us that that's not really something that we're supposed to be engaging in. What do we need to think of when we do apologetics? I love apologetics. After I got done with college, I loved apologetics so much that I went on and got a master's degree in it. I love properly used apologetics, but we need to make sure that we use it the way God intended it to be used. And so I just wanted to read this one more passage, and I made reference to it last week here in Romans 1. In verse 18, it says, "For the wrath of God is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men, who by their unrighteousness suppress the truth. For what can be known about God is plain to them, because God has shown it to them. For his invisible attributes, namely his eternal power and divine nature, have been clearly perceived ever since the creation of the world, in the things that have been made. So they are without excuse." In short, what Paul is saying here is that God doesn't believe in atheists. Nobody can say, I just don't have any evidence to believe that there is a God. Paul says in Romans 1 that nature proclaims God's glory, that You can look outside and see that there's a God. In fact, he uses this word suppress. They suppress the truth of God. I just give you an illustration of that. If you're in a pool and you have a beach ball and you take the beach ball and you push it underwater, you're suppressing that beach ball under the water. The beach ball is still there. You just can't see it. It's under the water. You can't deny the beach ball's existence. It's still there. It's just being suppressed. Paul is saying that's what people do with God. They suppress the truth of God. It's not that they don't see it. It's not that it's not there. It's that it's being suppressed. It's like a beach ball being pushed down underwater. It's pushing its way back up, and it's still there. It's just trying to be covered. So when we share our faith with someone, or someone that maybe is pretty hostile to Christianity, what do we need to be doing? Well, we don't need to be starting with the thought that they don't believe that there's a God at all. Romans 1 says that they really do. We need to show them how they live and how it reflects that they really do believe that there is a God. Everybody lives as though there is a God. They may not believe in sin, but they live their life with a certain principle and a certain moral code that shows that they do believe in a higher power. They live as though they are not animals, that they are special, that they are made in God's image. So that's just a brief overview of what apologetics is. I wanted to share that with you. We need to be sharing your faith. Apologetics needs to be used. We're not bickerers, and we're not quarrelsome. We don't cause arguments with people just to win an argument. But we want to share the truth with people, and that includes giving a well-reasoned defense for your faith. I hope that you can do that. I hope that you share your faith with others that way too. Don't let it be intimidating. You're the one that has the truth. That's all we have this week for our Friday morning follow-up, but I look forward to seeing you next week.